You want to leave? At a time like this? At a time like this? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's keep it close. Everybody's in frame. This is amazing, huh? Okay. So, suppose Shisha is right. We are going to begin our episode of the Snake Channel TV. So, um, as you know, this is the only TV show dedicated to unimaginably upgrading your life with telepathic snakes. I am the psychic known as Snake Channeler, and this is my boa constrictor, Shisha. We channel, transmit, and translate information to directly connect you to your path of unimaginable upgrades. Unimaginable upgrades exist for everyone in every walk of life, no matter what kind of wellness, health, wealth, any kind of state of affairs is accessible for unimaginably upgrading. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We have so much to talk about today. I would like to, she's just doing the exact opposite of what he was doing last week. He is moving around a lot because he has shed. And he is very curious now. So we will just keep working with him as he works with us. I know you're ready for your next adventure. I would like to thank our sponsors. Kelp Mineral, the first one, is a amazing just wellness and beauty product line that has been supporting the Snake Channel for many years now. Please check out Kelp Mineral. It is a small owned business by a magical woman who is sure to have made just the right products for you to aid in your wellness and detoxing. And the second sponsor that I would like to mention today is Aerial Afterglow Arts. Aerial Afterglow Arts is a circus school specializing in so many different arts. We have contortion and aerial and lyra, and Afterglow Aerial Arts is located in Portland, but you can also take a variety of virtual classes, and I just love them. So feel free to unimaginably upgrade your life with either of the sponsors and give them a follow, see if it's a good fit for you. You can already tell there's just like all of this movement in the room right now with Shisha wiggling around and Low Rider going up and down. You know, the animals are really full of this energy that I have been moving around with all day, just trying to get this recording going. And you know, today is Lionsgate. It's also a Mercury retrograde. There have been so many little hiccups that have sprung up along the way to get to this recording. And Shisha says, don't worry if you arrive to whatever your goal is with a little bit of a rough back, that a little roughen up still allows you to exist in beauty. And I am hearing him say that while I'm touching his back, and he has maybe just a couple of inches of rough scales right here. So I hope that those scales are feeling good, buddy. There was this very cool moment this morning when I was moving when I was moving a tabletop by myself, and it's very heavy, but I'm very determined, and I had figured out a way to, in any way, in any case, move this tabletop by myself. And as I went to go and move it, I saw what I initially thought was one of my snake's sheds. And I tend to put their shed skins out in the yard of wherever we are. And you're moving around so much today, hun. And all of these noises and all of this movement. And at first glance, I thought that it was one of my snake sheds, and then at second glance, I realized that it was not. It's a large snake shed that is just right outside of my front door, as if to tell me hello, and that they're here too. And that is one of many snake skins snake sheds that I have found on this property so far. So I feel very blessed to be in communication with the forest here. I'm in the Ozarks, and let's go ahead and dive into the word of the day, which is, I swore I wasn't going to stumble on this one. And here I am stumbling on it. Meliorism, Meliorism. The belief that we can contribute to a positive change and improve the world through acts of love, creativity, compassion, and kindness. I just really love this word. I think that as we move into the topics of the day, asking ourselves how we're contributing to the butterfly effect of a changing world through kindness, love, creativity, compassion is very important. You know, the butterfly effect suggests that even a butterfly flapping their wings somehow has an effect on the rest of the world. And if we are to be able to wrap our heads around such a thing, then we can also start to consider and focus on how compassion and kindness and love really does continue to change our world. And the tarot card of the day is the Three of Pentacles. In the Three of Pentacles, we see a sculptor showing his sculpture, and the card's book, the Rider Waite little booklet that just comes with it, says, a sculptor at his work in a monastery, and the meaning being trade, skilled labor, usually, however, regarded as a card of nobility, renown, and glory. And what I got off of this card for us all today is to really take a look at what your special and unique skill is. This man, the sculptor, is showing his work to very high regarding clients. And his unique skill is sculpting, and we each have a unique skill. And generally, when we just allow ourselves to exist with that skill, and we just allow ourselves to exist as ourselves, then everything really unimaginably upgrades. So perhaps you're a sculptor. I channel and transmit and speak on video very fluidly, and I always have. I love snakes. I love opening up space to explore the esoteric and advice seeking through these expanded consciousness or alternate consciousness ways. And I also like making a little bit of a sucker out of myself on camera. And I've always been this way. So this is a accumulation of my unique skills. And so I'm so glad to be here with you. Um, uh, so, Shisha, are you just going to stay in movement this whole time? Okay. You know what? We'll just do a little bit of a personal share right now. So, as Shisha is in this constant state of movement here, it's reminding me of the week that I just had. So, I went to a small town to sell an RV to a woman who was looking for exactly what I had. What is this? What are you up to? And I looked at the rental car place that was in this small town, and they were closed that day. And so on Friday night, I just thought to myself, well, if they're going to be closed on Sunday, I'll just ride my bike back. And so I left the house the next day to go and sell this RV and to ride my bike back, which was a 200-mile ride in 97-degree weather alone. I had never pack ridden before, like packed my overnight on my bike and just done it, but I just did it. And it was excruciating. And well, I was just everything that could have happened, with the exception of me being phenomenally hurt, seemed to happen. I ran out of water. I crashed. There was just so many things that happened. And yet, within 4 days, I was able to return home. And although I wanted to give up several times, I didn't. And it just really taught me so much about my capability, about my love to survive. And I was able to open up these phenomenal new pathways in my mind. Shisha, if people thought that you just never move, well, from last week's episode, boy, are they in for a treat in this episode, huh? Okay. So that's my little bike ride story. I feel incredible. It was amazing to push my body to a new degree, to throw myself into a big change like that. And it really just reminded me that change and adventure is always right around the corner. And I am going to see if we can just get him to settle for a second. Hey, it's just me, honey. Hey, calm down. You're okay. I love you. I know. It's gonna be okay. All right? We just need to settle. Settle down. I love you very much. We have a lot of questions to answer today. Are you ready? I'm so sorry. I know. Shisha has been a little bit stressed out lately. There's just been a lot of changes in his life. And sometimes when he is in complete change like this, it can be hard for him to just calm down and not be so tense. But I think that you're going to love the questions that we have today. Okay? You're all right. You're all right. It's going to be okay. I love you. I'm so proud of you. I know you have your new skin and it's just somehow just as uncomfortable as it was to lose it. That's okay. You're a new size. Snakes change size nearly constantly, and so his body is always changing into something new. And today I will be answering a lot of Q&A, as well as going over the topics: how to unimaginably upgrade, snake channel on telling the future, inner narratives and monologues, and protection from evil psychic forces. I already went over protection from evil psychic forces last week, but I feel like it's important, and I'd just like to go ahead and send it again this week. So, how to unimaginably upgrade. Shisha says, stay in movement and know when to relax and when to make an action. So, in a conversation that I was having earlier today, I realized that this bike ride really introduced such a, Rider's over there now, such a huge amount of information and stimulated my brain in such immense ways that I needed to rest so that my soul could plug into my brain in new ways, because I just learned so much on this bike ride about myself and my body and the world, and just the physicality of doing this, that my soul had to have more space to recalibrate and assimilate to the changes in my brain. And so the assimilation has been happening. And sometimes when you're unimaginably upgrading, you need time to learn, you need time to rest, and then you need time to just assimilate before making an intentional action. And especially during this period of kind of confusion and tyranny and chaos in the world, in order to find simplicity, to find magic through simplicity, we are being called into really taking a step back and evaluating where the unimaginable upgrade is. And remember that we are symbiotic beings. So when we are, especially, where do you want to go, hon? Do you just want to get out of the frame? I mean, this is a lot to deal with. Hey. Shisha, stop. Okay, come on. Come on. Oh, this is Mercury retrograde to the utmost. This is the Lion's Gate, and also it just seems like there have been so many hiccups to get to the moment of this recording. And now that I am recording, Shisha won't stop moving. The cats won't stop yelling. And I am just at a kind of a threshold right now of wondering how to make this video in this heat as everything just seems to kind of be like surmounting against me. And it's so funny to kind of like come out of the curtain in that way and say like, hey, this is difficult, but this is difficult. And the animals didn't want to be in the same room today. There has been conflict, and now there's tension lingering because of conflict. And I think that a lot of us can relate to this. And so my first topic is how to unimaginably upgrade. And you know what? I think that some of it is just going with the flow and being honest and just being authentic. You know, I think that there are so many opportunities to fake it till you make it. And there's also just so much validity in saying like, hey, I am a, a psychic named Snake Channeler, and I am trying real hard right now to just let a dream of mine happen, and it could fail. This TV show is a huge dream of mine, and it could fail. And I have certainly created plenty of things that I didn't think were my masterpiece. And yet, you know, in relation to the tarot card of the day, the Three of Pentacles, I'm reminded that we each do have a unique skill, and that our unique skill is symbiotic with everything that is. And generally, a wonderful way to unimaginably upgrade is trust falling into your unique skill and just letting it carry you. You know, doing this TV show, doing these recordings seems on one hand to be absolutely natural to me. And then on the other hand, it just, is it going to work? Am I going to reach the people that I want to reach? Am I going to help people in the way that I want to help? Am I going to be sitting up straight? Is my chin going to be up? That my brain can really get carried away with in the course of choosing to unimaginably upgrade, even if I have absolutely intentionally created all of this, starting from the snake channel and going all the way up to this little scene that we have here. And I had so many fun questions and then some serious questions sent into the snake channel from everybody. And something that I love about any moment that I start to wonder what the heck is going on here with snake channeler stuff, this is a co-created piece of work, like the other side of the channel is you. It's you. So, yay. And perhaps I stopped squirming. Perhaps she stopped squirming. And with that being said, thank you so much for being here and creating this space that allows me to be this thing and this artist that I've always dreamt of being. And yeah, I really appreciate all of these questions and all of the ways that you co-create the Snake Channel. Okay, so these first questions are just going to be really fast, and then we'll move into a like segue of another question with the following topic, which is Snake Channel versus telling the future. So, wife of cheating husband blames everyone other than her husband. What would you do? Ignore, block, ignore, block. Do trees like hugs? Yes. Is coffee good or bad? Neither. Is matcha better than coffee? No. Is meat good or bad? Good. I dreamt of a goose flying into my bedroom window. Is this an omen? Yes. You're going to have a silly goose of a lover soon. Where do we go when we sleep? To the world that always exists around us. The dream world, according to the Snake Channel and to my own personal experiences, is part of the world that just always exists around us. And with that in motion, I am going to pull up a dream that was sent into the Snake Channel this morning. I wanted to let you know that you and Shisha were in my dreams last night. Not the first time I've experienced you in the astral plane, but this time felt a little bit different. We were standing in a hallway and it was a tight space, and you gestured, and it was a tight space, and you were holding Shisha, and his head was sticking out toward me, and you motioned for me to start walking down the hallway. I could sense that both of you were behind me very closely, and I started to feel the walls caving in and closing in. And I stopped because I felt afraid. Then I felt Shisha literally bite the butt of my sweatpants. He also just hissed a little bit and bite the butt of my sweatpants. Although he didn't attach to my skin, he had a firm grip on me, and my whole body tensed. It was a mixture of your voice and his voice that said to not be afraid and to just keep going, that I am safe. I've never had Shisha reach out physically like that in the dream world, and it was shocking because I'm a bit skittish of snakes. But I know that there's something to draw from this. Anyway, it was a very interesting dream, and has had me pondering the meaning behind it. Hope you're having a great day, and thanks for letting me share. Okay, first of all, Shisha and I love this dream. We love it when we travel to visit people in the astral world and in the dream world because, well, that is one of the many ways that we exist. And it's fabulous to hear all of these amazing encounters. And, Shisha also loves making friends in the dream world. So if you happen to have a dream about us, please do pass it along. We love to know it. And moving on to some, more serious questions. There are two questions here that relate to the future. And the first is, what do the snakes have to say about the future of the world? The second is, what does Shisha say about our impending climate collapse? And so, that leads me into our second topic, which is the snake channel versus telling the future. As a psychic, I have never been invested in telling the future. And I think that this has to do with so many things. Through divination, we can ask any questions, and yet the future is something that we are always co-creating. So the risk in future telling for the Snake Channel and I is that the future is not yet decided. And so, we're living in a time of wild timeline hopping, and dimensions are changing, and we have like interdimensional storming happening regularly right now. And so, at times we might be just literally walking down the aisle at a grocery store feeling fine, and then we come out of the grocery at that very aisle just feeling absolute storming, or just feeling like a totally different person, feeling a little bit just off, or spent, suddenly tired. And these multidimensional storms are hitting us at a pretty large velocity. This could be because of the planetary stations. This could be because of bloodline wars, and the complex species that humans are kind of referred to as. There are many different kinds of humans. There are many different species of human. This also could be due to one of the thousands of particle smashers that are active on this planet that have been known to really take our reality into a questionable state. So, in regards to what do the snakes have to say about the future of the world? Shisha says, absolute mystery. And the wonderful thing about our world being in a state of absolute mystery is that mystery is the ideal precipice for unimaginable upgrades. So returning to our word of the day, Miluri. Why can't I say this word? Miluriism. I said it to Siri, but let's be real, that wasn't enough, I suppose. I really need to practice that word. The belief that we can contribute to positive change and to improve the world through love, creativity, compassion, and kindness really is the gateway to accessing unimaginable upgrades through this time of great mystery. And then the next question is, what does Shisha say about our impending climate collapse? Well, he says, ironically, even after we just said everything that we said about the future, that sure, there's a climate collapse, but what does that mean to you? Not thinking about the propagated version of the climate collapse of, um, you know, uh, endangered animals and rupturing volcanoes and natural disasters, but more, what does it mean to you to have all of your fears come to fruition? What are your fears? And are you able to recognize that on the other side of fear is generally potential, is generally purpose? And thank you, babe. She's just reminding me that I had the jitters pretty bad before doing this video. And then I started the video and everything was going bananas. But there's a purpose to all of this. There's a purpose to this work. And perhaps a climate collapse within means that you could be facing your own lifestyle change and disaster. What does that mean to you? You know, the snakes and I are always focused on the limitlessness of consciousness. And we don't really die. So if there is no death, then, you know, what are you afraid of change for? Change is the only thing that seems to actually exist. Is change and evolution and just energy. And so I think that something that is very observable about future concepts is that it can create a lot of anxiety. So anytime you start to wonder too much about the future, bring yourself back in a little bit. You know, there's truly no way to actually know. We can know what we can tell about things through astrology, or we can know what we can know through science and data. But truly, in the forefront of mystery, the greatest way to cultivate goodness and unimaginable upgrade is through love, creativity, compassion, and kindness. And it kind of reminds me of this moment on my bike ride. So I have, at this point, not really ridden very much. It has just been a hard start, and this was earlier this week. And I stopped into a cafe that's parking lot was very busy. It was a very small town and not a lot of bike riders were present, as in, like, I literally didn't see any while I was gone. And and so I stopped in this parking lot and I was kind of assessing like the vibe of the place to see if I wanted to go in. I mean, being a lone traveling woman, I really need to watch out for myself. And I am looking at my phone when this like kind of Kid Rock character pulls up in a pickup truck, and he's like, he's well groomed and definitely a Kid Rock vibe. And he says, "You all right?" And I say, "Yeah, I'm all right." And he says, "Okay, you're riding your bike?" And I was like, I am riding my bike. And he said, "For how long?" And I said, 200 miles. And his eyes got big and he was like, "That's like some naked and afraid stuff." And I said, "Yeah, um, I think I'd be a good contestant for that." And he says, "Well, I don't like snakes." And I say, "Oh, I like snakes." And his eyes get big and I'm looking at him. And then I say, "Well, is this place any good to eat at?" And he said, "Absolutely. That's why I bought it 2 years ago." And then he opens up about his lifestyle and what he gets up to, and that this is a really beautiful town. And when I walked in, there were a handful of people, all men, who recognized me from riding my bike earlier that day on the highway. And they were also impressed, and they were also sweet. And, I am a big supporter of being kind to strangers. And generally, when you're kind to strangers, good things happen. And this isn't to say, like, be kind to a stranger who's being hostile or creating direct danger, but it's these micro moments that I just love about, like, real world interaction and kindness and compassion, you know. Because choosing love in the moment of that man rolling up in his truck and asking me if I'm okay meant not being afraid of him. And not being afraid of him allowed him to open up to me, and it turned out to be a pretty cute time. The food, that'll just be a psychic message. So now, moving on to the next thing, just like Shisha seems to be doing. Hi. Hi. Are you moving on to the next thing? Okay. Okay. So, how to not let shyness get in the way of community building? Great question, and I love this one. It kind of actually relates to the question, or the story that I just shared right now, yeah, where um, you know, acting with kindness, being kind, choosing to be loving and welcoming to strangers. It definitely is a opener for community building. And also, I am quite aware that this is a skill that I have. It's a part of my archetype. It's a part of one of my most, used archetypes anyway, the explorer. The explorer um, goes off and does peculiar things, actually things that nobody really has before in the way that they have anyway. And then they come back, but the explorer wouldn't be able to share any of the newness afoot if it wasn't for the love and compassion necessary to communicate. So I work a lot with the explorer archetype. And I think that when it comes to shyness in the regard of building community, there really could be so many reasons that shyness is existing. As in, are you spending a lot of time connecting with others on your phone? If so, you might be getting some of your connected, like dopamine and experiences just already fulfilled on a digital screen. And this is something, but it's definitely not everything. So limit your screen time. If you're dealing with shyness, start to just experiment. You know, not every communication needs to be a winner. And generally, when we're forming community, a lot of misses are going to happen before we land into the nook that is here to hold us and that we serve in. So remember that building community doesn't just mean picking who you want, but it also means being yourself and seeing who wants you. And this is such a huge alchemizing process of, like, figuring out who you are, and then showing up to the world saying, like, this is who I am, and continuing to so bravely and courageously be yourself, even as crowds continue to boo and hiss you off of the stage that you might be on. So um, there are those suggestions. I also I am a big supporter in just starting small. You know, when dealing with shyness or anxiety, especially social anxiety, which I definitely experience too, as well as having this like charismatic personality, I also do get shy. And so whenever I'm getting this wave of just anxiety, social anxiety, I just actually practice with very simple interactions. You know, like really ask the person who's checking your groceries out how they are. Make an observational and meaningful comment to them, you know, whether it's just something that's like, I really like your nails, or how far along are you in your shift right now, or you know, I hope that everybody is kind to you today, or I hope that your day goes by quickly today if that's what you want. um, and be loving, you know, practice being loving. I think that something that is really the shadow side of anxiety is that we're not being loving in those moments, right? We're in a state of fear, and you know, they can rarely exist the same in the same room, fear and love. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, perhaps, though. Um, the same question asker asks how to heal chronic pain. And, well, I have something to say about that, and then Shisha has something to say about that. And remember that chronic pain has accumulated because of a chronic habit. There's something going on that's creating pain. And so while it might not go away instantly, and I really caution against using any painkillers for chronic pain. Mm, mm. Um, Start experimenting with elimination and substitution, with how you spend your time, who you talk to, what your environments are. And generally, when the body is giving a big no like that, a big absolutely not every day, the best thing to do is to just follow it. And we really do live in a wonderful setup for chronic pain or you know, chronic illness, in that we can research quite a bit on the internet. So start researching and start experimenting. And that leads me into the next topic, which is one of my newest um, fascinations. It's one of my um, researching blood types and bloodlines and blood wars led me to discovering the topic of inner narrative, which seems to be very Freudian, very that's so funny. Why did I just forget his name? Oh, the guy with the red book, Jungian. Um, and and it is perhaps the next big topic that I am going to be focusing on with the Snake Channel. Um, oh, oh, I'm sorry, Shisha. Actually, we forgot to do Shisha's response to the chronic pain question, so we're going to come back to Shisha. Shisha, How do you deal with chronic pain? He says, um, loosen up, but stay upright. He says that um, a world and a life without pain isn't a life at all. That you need to choose pain that serves you and leave all pain that doesn't. That there's no pleasure without pain, and that it really is a dual agreement to experience both deep pleasure with pain. And so he says that perhaps you have over tapped your reservoir of pleasure. So perhaps you have over partied, perhaps you have overindulged. And it's wonderful to be hedonistic, and yet um, even with hedonism comes pain. So it's not that life is suffering, but it's also learning how to enjoy suffering and learning how to enjoy pain calls us into the question of what pain is right for you. And for me, some of the right pain for me is riding my bike, and it also is isolation. I just love it. It is like very fruitful for me. Both of those pathways of pain open up immense pleasure for me. So find a supportive pain, and don't expect pain to ever go away, but just expect yourself to be able to manage your way out of the chronic pain that you are in to transmute it into something different. I was in a wheelchair in my 20s because of Lyme disease. And I experienced immense pain, like just horrible pain. I wouldn't want anybody to have to go through anything like that. And so what I learned is that people can go through an extraordinary amount of pain, and we are still alive. And it's wild. And so now I kind of think of my pain in fitness, or my pain um, in cognitive development or spiritual development, as if I'm kind of like spreading a layer of pain across the duration of my life, instead of experiencing it all in that like kind of like whoop-blammo effect that I did in Lyme disease. So, oh my gosh, I just love drinking tea. Okay, so um, thank you, Shisha. Shisha always literally has answers to, and perceptions to things that I just couldn't come up with on my own. He is such a phenomenal mind, and I am so lucky that we get to work together, my angel. I really am. I'm just so lucky. I love you. Okay. So, the next topic being this Freudian, Jungian topic that I love, and I think is going to actually just be a doorway opening up to so much work with the Snake Channel, is the inner narratives and monologues. So, inner narratives and monologues is taking it a step further than like the kind of like yogi um, perception or concept of like observe your thoughts. It's also, I think, kind of the next thing after this like fad of doing expansive consciousness and alternate consciousness practices to excavate the dream realm and the subconscious, in the ways that, both Freud and Jung definitely talk about a lot. And it's just such a fad right now to, like, grab a mic and do some DMT and have a buddy on and talk about Freud and Jung, and how, doing these things led to, a realization that these other worlds and inner worlds exist. Now, asking ourselves what our inner narrative is huge. Like, I have a very complex inner narrative. I will have full conversations with myself. I then learn something new, and I also have a new direction, all by paying attention to my thoughts. This can start off with just like, you know, I was just reflecting on this the other day. Like, there was this one day in a yoga class that I realized I was really doing very poorly, because I was having negative thoughts about the yoga teacher. I just thought, I don't like her. She is so irritating. And I heard that thought, and then I thought back to myself in this inner narrative. I was like, well, why would you say something like that? We're doing yoga. And I responded, she's just so childlike, and it's difficult to keep up with her, and you can tell that um, she's just being fake, because she's not actually caring for any of the people in the class. And I said, I think that you, being me, are having extremely negative thoughts, and this is something that we need to pay attention to. And and then I kind of wrestled myself in my inner narrative, and the conclusion was that I really needed to, come to terms with how poorly my mind was thinking, and to make a call to action to correct these very negative thoughts. And so I have, I basically do what I humorously call, positive brainwashing, where I go into my own world. Like, I don't socialize with people who are a risk to my subconscious, to my inner narrative. I only read and watch things that are going to be supportive of that. I only, choose actions that are going to be supportive of that, choose foods. There are so many things that affect our inner narrative. And not everybody has an inner narrative. Some people are just in doing narrative. And some people have monologues that are just like dictators, that are like, get up, do this, now do this, now do this. And I am so curious to know what kind of, um, inner monologues, dialogues, or narratives you have in your life, because I think that developing an inner narrative is absolutely, the best way to start taking, control in our mind soul development as sovereign and limitless beings. And so this brings me to, the second to last question, which is, how do we awaken and embody that true eternal being within ourselves? And I believe that this is within, strengthening, developing, honing, and creating inner narratives that support our unique skill to rise to our unimaginable upgrades. And there are so many things that affect the inner narrative. Most media is designed to target and to affect inner narrative. Propaganda is formulated to speak directly to the subconscious so that the consumer mind is spending time buying a product instead of spending time developing their sovereignty. And so, um, in direct answer to how do we awaken and embody that true eternal being within ourselves, please get a psychic snake reading from me, and please let's absolutely explore this. Is one of my solutions. And another solution is start asking yourself what kind of inner dialogue you have. What kinds of thoughts do you have? And from there, start to train your mind. Be determined, be routine, take care of yourself, eat healthy foods, avoid unhealthy content on the screens. Limit yourself on the screen as well. Stay in movement. Do things that cause you to enjoy yourself. Avoid all environments, people, dynamics that cause you to think poorly of yourself. Anything that causes you to think poorly of yourself is the enemy. And this isn't to say that we can't be in a state of taking accountability for ourselves. Somebody who is loving towards us and wants us to address a negative habit that we have doesn't necessarily need to make us feel bad about ourselves. But this can be a very fragile time of creating a new inner narrative. So pursue it and go for it with courage. And let's see. Then the next topic is protection from evil psychic forces. It was a very prevalent topic last week. And hello, Shisha. We're going to move some of this around. And it continues to be. And so before I really jump into the Shisha, jump into the next episodes where we will be talking about human hybrids and the various species of in quote human on the planet and psychic technology and continuing to develop our inner narratives and how to unimaginably upgrade in a mysterious cultural and planetary climate. Okay, there's too much moving now. There's too much moving. We gotta settle down a little bit. Gotta settle down just a little bit. Just a little. Okay. Here we are. Protection from evil psychic forces. Signs of evil psychic intention. Entities that offer a contract or deal in exchange could be a red flag. Situations that are stimulating could be a red flag. Entities that encourage drug use could be a red flag. Entities or experiences that encourage you to leave the people that you love could be a red flag. Entities that give you long drawn instructions leading you to have some sort of obligation to them could be a red flag. All of these signs of evil psychic intention are also very similar to like a textbook domestic violence kind of abusive relationship. And they're all things to watch out for. There are very formulaic patterns that entities and people and people who are actually entities will attach to their target. And it is important to be aware of these things and to talk about them. There are a lot of psychic technologies and psychic entities that are just taking advantage of people right now. And, don't sign contracts. Just don't do drugs because an entity told you to. And certainly don't leave the people that you love because an entity told you to. Whether that's like through drug experience or anything. Um, how evil psychic entities and technology begin. They find targets in vulnerable circumstances. Like any predator, the stronger and more vulnerable the target, the better. So be aware of a stimulating experience in your psychic swooping in on you when you are vulnerable. Um, the evil psychic entity might also begin by approaching as a helper to the target. Very similar to a textbook abusive relationship again. Um, and an evil psychic entity is also very capable of love bombing. They will change a target's life for the better until they move in the opposite direction. So, we live in a give and take universe. So when we have entities that start to love bomb, that start to just, make it rain in ways that are just seemingly um, surreal and just really more stimulating than they are simple, um, it is time to really evaluate this as a red flag. Um, Evil psychic entities will also start to send other, like in quote, people that have been put under their glamour towards you. So there can be a buzz in the tribe um, of this love bomber, psychic evil entities presence in people's lives. It's a very cult-like. Um, and eventually, another thing that they'll do is they'll take you away from loved ones. So be very careful of these things. They will continue, evil entities will continue in a trajectory of once they've changed their life, they'll make you sign more contracts. Um, of course, everything was so good at first that the offer seems okay, so why not? And then they will flatter your abilities and have you sign more deals, similar to like a typical salesperson. And the final test breaks most people. So once they've changed your life for good as the evil psychic predators and entities that they are, then they will do the absolute opposite. So consider that love bombing. Be aware. Be very aware. You are enough, and you actually have the ability within your unique skill and your unique path of unimaginable upgrades to be symbiotically, effortlessly, and endlessly supported by the universe, no matter what propaganda says, no matter what your inner narrative says. I believe in you. And this is all, it's also true. um, and there's good news. There are ways to unimaginably upgrade always. And we exist in a dualistic world, and everything is in paradox, which means that if you have been caught up with evil contracts, you can also be free and happy and healthy because divine and divinity always outweighs evil. It just does. It's in the math of the universe. The universe is limitless and evil is limiting. So in the math that we literally exist in, divinity wins every time. So I am really happy to be here with you all as we continue to explore these very complex topics in a hopefully beautiful and meaningful way to you. Remember that the expanded perspective requires us to be in a receiving position. And, let's see. Yeah, I'm here to help you navigate these complexities. And I love all of the questions. And we are just really available to continue helping you unimaginably upgrade. And let's go ahead and just take a moment to think of the word of the day, to focus on the tarot card of the day, and to just maybe even repeat after me. My energy is open and flowing in every area of my life. And with that being said, Shisha and I, and earlier Lowrider, have really appreciated getting to share this space with you. And oh, there was one more question. It was like, what do I think of garlic honey? Shoot, love this stuff. Fermented garlic honey, love it. Yeah, that was a fun question, a silly question, and a quick answer. So, continue watching for more topics of uh, consciousness work and psychic work, and perhaps some high strangeness and big conversations into human hybrids and inner narratives, and of course, unimaginably upgrading. And there is a very special message from Shisha, which I will just let him telepathically share with you right now. It's me. Okay, I suppose that's his message. Thank you so much for being here with us. I am limitlessly supporting you in psychic space and beyond to raise to your unique path of unimaginable upgrades. From me and the snakes, from our home to your home, I am wishing you ease, love, creativity, and happiness. Thank you, everyone.